Why is it that life feels like it's always too busy? Like I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough minutes in a day. I mean, I got too many balls in the air to juggle. I have too much to try to fit on my plate. I got to take care of my wife. I got to be present for my kids. I got to go to work. I got to pursue my mission and my purpose. Where's the time to even watch some sports, maybe senselessly scroll around on some social media platforms and get my butt to the gym? I just can't fit it all in, man. Life is just too damn busy. I wish I just had more time. Who out there feels that way? Well, wait a second. We have 1,440 minutes per day. What are you doing with those minutes? We have 86,400 seconds in a day. What are you doing with those seconds? We have 31,536,000 seconds per year. What are you doing with all those seconds? Now, if you listen to one of my previous podcasts, we talked about how we waste time. We talked about what have you deemed sacred? And we said sacred is what you give your time, energy, attention, and focus to. And most guys are like, well, I deem my wife sacred, my family sacred, my job sacred, my body sacred. But do you really? Is that what's really getting your time? Make sure you go back to that previous podcast and see, where's your time going? Is it being wasted on things that are pulling you down or building you up? Is it being wasted in a way where you are feeding it into things that are shrinking you or helping you grow and helping you rise? Another question for you to consider, is it that I really don't have enough time, or is it that I don't have enough energy? That's one that'll really get us thinking, because let's face it, when we're energized, when we're vibrant, when we're full of life, all of a sudden it feels like we can bend time. All of a sudden it feels like we have nothing but time. What are you eating? What are you drinking? Is it alcohol? Is it soda? Or is it celery juice, lemon water, coconut water, things that are going to give you more vibrancy, bring you more to life? Are you eating inorganic and dead foods, or are you eating organic live foods? Because when we have more bioenergy, when we have more fuel in our body, all of a sudden we feel like we can get more done. All of a sudden, life doesn't feel so busy. All of a sudden, we might feel like we have more time. That's one thing for you guys to consider. I'm going to tell you something that maybe you've never heard. And I've had the luxury and I've had the privilege to learn this information since 1994, studying under one of my teachers. I went into a specialty type of chiropractic that's called network spinal. And we learned about certain spinal patterns. And there's basically about 5 of them. And there's this one pattern called pattern number 2. And a part of that pattern deals with the upper neck, our first cervical vertebra, which is called atlas. And there's 7 cervical bones in the neck. They're all called cervicals, the neck bones. And what I learned all the way back then in 1994, and I've seen it to be so true, it's incredible. Some of us have heard, the time, or a concept of time is shouldn't really be in our mind. Time is of the soul, and this whole concept of time is man-made, and it's all made up in the mind. And we might understand that to some degree intellectually, but let me give you a deeper appreciation of what this is really about. So lots of us, and lots of my listeners, and probably the 10,000 plus men that I've worked with, just about every single one of them, no, I take that back, every single one of them has had some sort of hurt, wound, or trauma in their life, whether it was physical, whether it was emotional, whether it was chemical, whether it was spiritual. We've all been subjected to different types of hurts. Now, what happens for so many of us is this is where we start to have an issue with the concept of time. This is where we start to feel that life is too busy. So maybe some of you at one point of your life were born by C-section, and you actually came out at a time that wasn't planned by your soul, but it was planned by the doctor, it was planned by the nurse, it was planned by your mother, it was planned by the convenience of this is when we could fit you in. Maybe some of you were pulled out prematurely. Maybe some of you were pulled out late. Maybe some of you growing up actually, when you were kids, one of your parents passed away. Maybe some of you had to move cities or countries or towns. Maybe some of you grew up where there was a divorce in your family. And what happens unconsciously and invisibly for all of us when that happens is we can't trust, keyword trust, in the timing of life. There's 2 types of trust. One is, do I trust in the timing of life? And that involves our first cervical vertebra called atlas. And one is, can I trust in people, which ultimately has to do with trusting in ourselves, which we'll get into in a future podcast. But for today's podcast, we're talking specifically about the spinal cord tension pattern that affects our first cervical vertebra called atlas. And when we've had something happen to us, whether it was in utero or early childhood, like toddler years or a little bit older, all of a sudden we don't feel as though we can fully trust in the timing of life. So, how does that show up later in life? It shows up as us feeling, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough minutes in the day. I don't have enough days in the week. I don't have enough weeks in the year. I have too much on my plate. I can't bounce it all, do it all, juggle it all, have it all, be it all. I can't be a dad and also be a husband and also take care of my employees and run my business and pursue my mission and purpose and get to the gym. I don't have time for all of this stuff. So you constantly feel pressured by time and or money. And this is now held inside of your head. You now have a relationship with time through the mind as opposed to a relationship with time through the soul. What the hell does that mean? Well, it means that when we don't have that tension anymore in that part of our spinal cord, and it then releases our vertebra called the C1 atlas vertebra, where now that atlas vertebra has the capacity and ability to go through its normal oscillatory range where it moves in this beautiful rhythmic figure eight, as opposed to the bone losing its flexibility, losing its ability to go through motion. And as many of you know, as certain bones stop moving, they eventually call it arthritis, where the joints fuse. But our bones really should be able to oscillate and move through this beautiful rhythmic figure eight motion. And when we've had these hurts in life, when we've had these traumas in life, it starts to eventually pull on our spinal cord, which pulls on certain vertebra. And when that atlas vertebra is under duress, it can completely alter how we relate to time. Now, what really is time? And when we're not under duress at that atlas vertebra, how do we all of a sudden filter time? Well, we start to see the magic in the timing of life. We start to filter life through the lens of synchronicities and the things are serendipitous in nature. We start to see the divine timing. We start to see the divine orchestration, that everything is being divinely timed and divinely orchestrated, and it's all happening and it's all unfolding exactly as it should be. And so many of you in hindsight could start to see this. You can start to connect the dots. You could start to say, oh my God, if I hadn't gotten divorced, which at the time was the worst thing in the world, I can't believe that I went through that. Then I never would have met this person. And if I didn't meet this person, then we never would have had these kids. And oh my God, I can see how the divine timing of life is perfect and poetic. But so many of us can't see that. So many of us have had so many hurts and so many wounds and so many traumas, and there's so much duress and so much tension in our upper neck that our filter of time is through the mind, where all the stories live, all the chaos lives. And we are under a great deal of stress, a great deal of tension, because the concept of time is stuck in our mind rather than it being surrendered back up to what we call the soul, which is beyond the mind. It's an intelligence, it's a currency of energy that has nothing to do with the mind, and it just can see the miracles that keep unfolding in your life. So think for a moment, where was the first time in your life where you started to actually realize, or maybe you can trace back to, oh yeah, that's when I stopped trusting in the timing of life? I mean, how many of you right now could write out, connect the dots, go, oh my God, my best friend, if we hadn't moved, which I didn't want to move, and I hated my parents for making us move, and I said, why do we have to move? I like this house, I like this city, I like this town. Why do we have to move? Next thing you know, you moved, and then you met this person, and had you not moved, you wouldn't have met this person. And now because you met this person, they're your best friend, and now at your wedding, they're the best man, or they're the person that you would never even want to have the wedding if they weren't at the wedding. Every single one of us could go through this, where you realize the timing of life is so poetic. Now, of course, that's going to be hard for us to fully accept when we've lost a loved one, and it's going to make us question life. It's going to make us question God. It's going to make us question the timing of things. But I think all of you have enough examples where you can see that there is a divine order, there is a beauty, there is a synchronicity, there is a divine timing, there is a divine orchestration that is really unfolding everything in the perfect sequence as it should be. And I tell you, one of the most common things that men share with me, in our Man on Fire community, we go take men through this 4-day intense immersion. It's our signature event where we really help men break into their bodies, get out of their heads, just be more available in their hearts, become more present, grow their empathy, grow their compassion, grow their courage, and grow their ability to show up more powerfully in their communication with their loved ones. And one of the most common things that men tell me all the time is they say, David, I wish I had found you sooner, or I wish I had found Man on Fire sooner. If I had found you sooner, then I probably could have saved my marriage, or if I had found you sooner, then I probably could have XYZ. And I look at them straight in the eyes and I tell them, you found us at the perfect time. And then they just smile and they giggle and they know that it's true. See, the mind wants you to think that I wish I could have done this sooner. I wish I could have lost the weight sooner. I wish I could have made the money sooner. I wish I could have known better. I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have treated this person better. I wish I can go back in time and get a do-over. And the truth is, when you're really honest with yourself, you realize that it's all unfolding again with divine precision and divine order. So there are three things that you can start doing where you can start to feel as though you have more time. You can start to actually feel that life is not so busy and you have nothing but time. You can start to bend time and you can feel like, oh my God, I could breathe. I have enough time. So what's the first thing? Well, write down a list of things that you do on a normal basis. Like, be brutally honest with yourself. Come up with a list of 10, 15 things that you know you're doing every day. You know, like you're on your cell phone, senselessly scrolling through social media, TikTok, and all those apps. Write down all these things that you do, and I invite you to eliminate one of those things that you know is a time suck, that you know is draining you. I mean, we only get so much gas in the car every single day. Back in the day, I had this Mini Cooper S. It was fast, it was fun. It's like a BMW. It was like a little go-kart. A couple people made fun of me because I'm more of a Jeep guy, and I got my Jeep again. But back in the day, I had a Mini Cooper, and oh my God, it probably gave me about 550 miles on a full tank of gas. And the question is, where do you go with those miles? I mean, every single day or every single week, here you are with a full tank of gas, or every month you have a full tank of gas. Where are you going? And the same could be thought of as it relates to your life. You have a full tank of gas that you wake up every morning with. What are you spending it on? What's the one thing, or maybe even two things that you could eliminate that wouldn't drain so much of that gas, wouldn't drain so much of the mental time that you're spending on this thing that you know is not there to help you grow and build you up? So the first thing, eliminate one thing that you know is draining your gas tank. Number two is I actually want to teach you how can you start freeing up that first cervical vertebra that we call atlas and start to get it to move with more fluidity and more emotion. And in doing so, take the concept of time out of your head and bring it back up into your soul. So I want everyone that's actually watching this podcast through YouTube. And for those of you that are just listening, just imagine this. You take your fingertips from both hands and you slide it down the back of your skull. And you're going to feel the bone behind your fingertips. And I want you to slide super slow until the bone becomes soft tissue. As soon as you can feel the soft tissue just below the skull, you have landed on what is called the posterior arch of Atlas. That's a fancy way for saying you are now on the back of the bone, that first cervical vertebra. And I simply want you to close your eyes, or you can leave them open. You're going to tuck your chin so gently, just a little bit, and you're actually going to feel that vertebra, the back of that atlas vertebra, start to protrude right into your fingertips. You're going to actually feel the tissue and the muscle, and then all of a sudden the bone is going to pop right into your fingertips. And as you can feel it there, I want you to consciously take a breath in the nose and out the mouth, directing the breath right to where your fingers are. Just like if I told you to put your hands on your upper chest and take a breath there, you'd be able to get breath there and movement there. Just like if I told you to put your hands on your belly button and direct the breath there, you could breathe there. So in this case, I want you to take your hands and put them right on that arch of Atlas, your fingertips, tuck your chin down and breathe in the nose, out the mouth, right into that vertebra. Do this for about a minute and then take your hands away. And you're going to probably notice your neck wants to move around. It might start to move a little bit like very similar to the way Stevie Wonder would move his head. You might even hear some clicking and cracking and popping, the vertebra almost dissipating some of its bound up energy, and it's going to become more free, and things might start to slow down. And all of a sudden, you're going to have more range in that first cervical vertebra and start to pay attention in your life. Has your relationship to time started to shift slightly? Now, what's the third thing you could do? Remember, the first thing was eliminate one thing that's draining you every day. The second thing is learning how to breathe into the back of that first vertebra called Atlas. And the third thing that I'd like you to do is I want you to practice this breathing technique where you breathe in the mouth, out the nose. Now, there's really only four ways that we could ultimately breathe in life. One of them is nose, nose. One of them is in the nose, out the mouth. One is in the mouth, out the mouth. And the last one, the fourth way, is in the mouth, out the nose. So many of you have heard previous podcasts, and if you're breathing nose, nose, that's like a breath of fire. That's where you build chi, you build energy. If you build decisiveness, more focus. If you breathe in the nose and out the mouth, it's more of a breath of connection. So in this case, I want you to actually breathe in the mouth and out the nose. And again, you can close your eyes or you can leave your eyes open. And what you do is you breathe in the mouth, just pretend you're sipping through a straw, maybe 3 feet in front of you. You breathe in. And as you're breathing in the mouth, I want you to just very gently lean your head back a little bit and then gently breathe out the nose. And again, do this for about a minute in the mouth and out the nose. And many of you that actually practice this, not just listening to my words, but actually do this for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, you will start to see, oh my God, the noise in my head is starting to slow down. It's becoming harder and harder and harder for me to hold thoughts. All of a sudden, you're going to start to sense life is just not so busy. You're not going to feel the pressure of time and everything that you got to get done. And all of a sudden, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel more ease. You're going to feel more stillness. You're going to feel more peace, more tranquility. You're going to almost feel the effortlessness of life, like everything has become still. And that is a introduction of how you can start bringing about what I was speaking to earlier, which is the soul. See, the mind is busy, it's chatter, it's always, incessant mind chatter going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you can't stop the mind chatter, and we're stuck up in our head, and we've all heard the expression, get in your head, you're dead, or, analysis paralysis. So here you are. For a minute or two, you just start to breathe in the mouth, out the nose, gently leaning your head back, your upper neck. And then you breathe out the nose, you bring it back to where it was. And next thing you know, all of the chatter just goes away. And why is that so important? Because it's also helping you engage that atlas vertebra. And why is that so important? Because it's freeing up some of the tension on your spinal cord. It's freeing up some of the tension in that bone. And why is that so important? Because all of a sudden now you're moving your concept of time back up into what we call soul. And now life doesn't feel so busy. Life feels plentiful. Life feels abundant. Now you no longer feel betrayed by time like we did when we were a little kid, and we start to feel that time is working for us. We start to see and celebrate the magic of synchronicities. We start to see the divine timing of life, the divine orchestration of a higher order. And this is where we want to operate from. And it's so beautiful to move through life where we've started to change our relationship to time and move it back into the soul. So it's not just a saying that we hear, time is just really a concept of the mind. Like, yeah, that sounds cool, but what the heck does that mean? My hope is that for today, some of you have a deeper and a better appreciation and understanding of this. Now, I want to ask you guys to help me bend some time, and we want to get this word out to more people out there. So if there's anyone that you know of that could benefit from hearing this podcast, please share these podcasts with a friend. And also, if you're listening to me on YouTube or one of the platforms that allows you to put in a comment, please put in a comment and let me know, what did you take away from this episode? Gentlemen, here's to you rising with passion, with power, and with purpose. It is your man on fire, mentor David Mailer. And also to all the beautiful women out there who have tuned into our podcast, here's to you as well, rising with more passion, power, and purpose. So much love to everybody. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped.